Hi, my name's Marona Mirage, and I have one question for you. How's your head? Now, you may be asking yourself, why should I trust this man in a dress to give me advice about my life? Well, that's a good question. I've given therapy to thousands of people, and I'm not just talking about the drunk white girl at the bachelorette party. I'm actually licensed in the states of Illinois and Massachusetts, and I stumbled over my words, but we're going to keep going. Today, we are going to talk about substance use and how to deal with cravings. This has been something that I've been hearing more and more from friends, from family, from people who I work with during COVID. And so, although this is something that comes up commonly, right now, while we're still in COVID, I've been finding it happening more and more and more. And so, the reasons for that are, let's think about, why do we typically have cravings? And this doesn't have to be specific to substance use. This could be food, this could be sex, this could be whatever makes us feel good that maybe we're craving and we're lacking right now. But specifically, I want to focus it around substance use. And the reasons for that are loneliness, not having that social connection, feeling depressed or anxious, maybe about COVID, what's going on in the world right now. So let's talk about reasons why we may be having cravings, which could be not only for substances, but also for sex or relationships or other things that maybe we identify as unhealthy for ourselves. And think about the reasons why we crave these things when we crave them, right? It's usually times when we're feeling lonely or depressed or anxious, maybe remembering a past traumatic experience we've had, or even feeling really lonely and isolated or out of control, which is a big one right now during COVID. So many people are feeling out of control. And so naturally our tendency is to go towards the things we can control, whether that be eating or substance use or sex or other things that are related to that. But what we know, and we talked about this in my first video, is that sometimes these things can give us the rush of dopamine, right? The things that make us feel good. That's that pleasure chemical in our brain that comes about from sex and from these other things that we talk about, especially comes out from substance use. But what we know is after we use the substance, especially something like alcohol, it's a depressant, right? So the next day we feel really shitty. We probably feel even more depressed than we did before. And so that's how we can get into the tendency of needing it or craving it. And so it's important, if you're sober, when you're having cravings, to remember that, right? That even if it may help you in the moment, it's not going to help you long term. It's actually going to make you feel worse than you did before. The other thing with cravings is that on average, they only last 9 minutes. Yes, 9 minutes. And so if we don't act on them, whatever that may mean, we have to remember that it is going to pass. And so when I say whatever that may mean, it may mean, oh, just one sip of something or just one hit of something. But we know, if we're being honest with ourselves, it very, very rarely, if we are sober and we identify that we have difficulty with managing our usage, that it's never just one, right? And so it's important to find other things. And you can go to one of my previous videos about coping skills, where I go over a ton of different coping skills you can use in those moments when you're having those cravings, and the whole time trying to remember that it will pass. Or even better, trying to distract yourself with some of the coping skills that I talked about in my previous video that are relative and specific to distracting yourself. So when we talk about coping skills, the big thing to remember is that you want something that is going to take your focus. You don't want it to be something that is just going to be mindless distraction, like for some folks that may be TV or a movie or even a book. You really want something that's going to take a lot of your energy and attention. So maybe a conversation with someone, or playing a game that you're really, really into, or a puzzle, or something that's going to take a lot of mental energy. If you're a student, maybe doing some homework or doing some work at home, though those may not be pleasurable, it's probably going to be better than what it is you're craving or what it is you're wanting to do. One thing that I really love, and I mentioned in my past video about coping skills, which you can check out, I'll put the link down below, is the deep breathing techniques. So I use 5-3-5. You'll hear all these different numbers from different therapists. It really doesn't matter. So 5 seconds in your nose, deep into your diaphragm, hold it for 3, and out your mouth slowly for 5 or more. So the idea is to be very intentional. And the idea behind this is that the counting distracts your mind from whatever's going on, and also the breathing helps calm your body, which sometimes we can find gets really riled up when we get anxious, or even when we're having cravings, whether that be sweaty palms, or we can't stop shaking our leg or our hands. We may get like tremors, we have a racing heart, or shallow breathing. All these things can help the physical sides of our anxiety, as well as calming down our mind from whatever's triggering us. One thing I really love is the impulse control log. And what this does is it helps us to manage our impulses. This is really great for folks who deal with substance use and may have triggers or cravings. It's also great for folks who maybe have ADD or ADHD or bipolar or other things that make us really impulsive. And so what we do is we write down what is the impulse, what was triggering us before the impulse, and what can we do instead of what we are having the impulse to do to make us still feel good. So for example, if the impulse is maybe to pick up and drink, you can think about, was it a fight I got in with my partner? Was it my boss was really on my ass today? Was it having a really hard day in general? And what can we do instead? That goes back to the coping skills, right? The deep breathing, you can go for a walk, you can do something that's very focused and really takes a lot of your mental energy, all the other things that we talked about before. Other ideas are like journaling, drawing, leaving the physical environment you're in or taking a break, reaching out to a friend or family member, someone you really trust. Maybe it's a sponsor if you're in a 12-step program, or a therapist if you have one. You have that type of relationship where they've identified that you can reach out to them. So I'd love to hear from you. What works for you with managing your own substance use and other things that you deal with impulses or just in general, especially during COVID. You know, right now it's really hard, and something I really love is building community. So I'd love to hear from you all and share with each other. So comment down below and let me know what works for you. I appreciate all your love and support. If you haven't already, please do subscribe and turn on that notification bell so you can be notified when I post next week. And I look forward to seeing you guys again. Bye.